Everyone argues about sourdough and yeast, but what happens if you use both? Yesterday I made a Poolish with just a tiny bit of yeast, and today I'm combining Poolish with that sourdough starter to find out whether I can make the perfect sandwich rolls. Soft enough for sandwiches and flavorful to be worth that extra work. Let's find out. Let me show you how this started. Last night I mixed 195 grams of flour, 195 grams of water, and just 0.1 grams of yeast. If you don't have a scale to measure that small amount of yeast, this is roughly what you're looking for. It's about the size of a small bean. It doesn't look like much, but overnight is enough to completely transform the dough. By morning, the Poolish is full of bubbles and packed with flavor we need for our rolls. By morning, this is what I had. A Poolish that is full of bubbles, full of flavor, and ready to become part of my today's dough. I'm also going to be using sourdough starter, as I mentioned. It was prepared last night as well. It's 100% hydration, and we will use 100 grams for this recipe. Into the mixer, I already added flour, Poolish, and sourdough starter. And I'm slowly adding water and mixing everything together before adding anything else. I am giving this dough a short rest, and this step is called fermentation. It simply gives the flour time to absorb the water and start developing the gluten. Even after 20 minutes, you can already feel the difference. The dough becomes smoother, softer, and much easier to work with. Now it's time to add rest of the ingredients. I add egg for richness, a little sugar for sweetness and color, salt for flavor, and a small amount of yeast to help support the rice. The oil goes in last, little at a time. One thing I love about baking with Poolish and sourdough is that each one brings something different to the dough. The Poolish helps to create softness. It also makes the dough more extensible and easier to shape. The sourdough contributes flavor that develops slowly during fermentation. One brings softness, the other brings character. And together they create something that's difficult to get from either one alone. This is one of my favorite moments. The dough starts out rough and shaggy, and then little by little it transforms into something smooth and elastic. This is what I'm looking for, a thin window pane without tearing. And that's a good sign that the gluten is developed enough to support a light and airy crumb. At this point, we are done, and now we wait. Fermentation is something we can force. Just simply give the dough the condition it needs and let it do the work. My dough took about an hour today, but don't follow the clock. Follow the dough. It should look airy, feel alive, and become noticeably larger. It should nearly double the size. The dough fermented beautifully. It's light and airy, and I'm going to divide it into 10 pieces, each piece for about 135 grams. For the pre-shape, I'm rolling each piece into a short cylinder about 10 centimeters long. As I pull the dough toward myself, I am building a little surface tension. And nothing fancy here, just creating a strong foundation for the final shape. Now the dough gets a short rest, about 15 to 20 minutes. This allows the gluten to relax and makes the final shaping much easier. For the final shape, I gently flatten the dough into a rectangle. Then I fold the top down and seal it. Then I turn it, fold again, and seal it with the palm of my hand. Then one more final fold and seal it with the palm of my hand again. I am keeping these rolls about 20 centimeters long. Think of them as a softer, plumber version of a small baguette. Let me show you the final shaping from another angle. The rolls now get one final rise. This is where they gain the volume that makes them so light and enjoyable to eat. When they're ready, they should feel noticeably puffy, light and airy to the touch. For the scoring, a light dusting of flour helps the score stand out after baking. Then one confident cut right down the center, simply but classic. My oven is fully preheated to 230 degrees Celsius or 450 Fahrenheit, and as soon as I add the rolls in, I lower the temperature to 200 degrees Celsius or 400 Fahrenheit and add steam. Steam gives the rolls a chance to expand before the crust sets, and that's what helps to create good volume and oven spring. And here they are. This is the moment every baker waits for. Beautiful color, great volume, and the aroma filling the kitchen is incredible. These turned out exactly how I hoped they would. Now let's take a look inside. And look at this crumb. It's soft, light, and evenly aerated. Strong enough to fold the sandwich, but still incredibly tender. The taste test. The first thing I notice is the texture. The crumb is so soft and light, almost cloud-like. Polish here contributes to subtle sweetness, and the sourdough brings depth and complexity. They both work together. And the result is a roll that's more flavorful than a standard sandwich bun, while staying softer than most of the sourdough breads. So, was it worth using both pre-ferments? For sandwich rolls like these, I think the answer is yes. The Polish brings softness, the sourdough brings flavor. Altogether, they create something that's greater than sum of its parts. Thanks for baking with me, and I'll see you in the next one.